Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we are diving into a company whose financial situation is about to get a lot more complicated, like trying to assemble furniture with instructions written in another language. And before we start, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. We are looking at a report from Sunnova Energy International, and it paints a pretty concerning picture. The company, along with some of its related entities, has filed for bankruptcy. That's right, Chapter 11. This means they're trying to reorganize their finances while staying in business. The report tells us this all happened on June 8, 2025. This is the date they officially filed for what's called Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The main company, Sunnova Energy International, is part of this, along with two other entities with Sunnova in the name. They're all trying to get their finances in order under the protection of the bankruptcy court. These Chapter 11 cases, as they are called, will be handled together by the court. Sunnova wants to keep running its business as usual while it figures out how to pay its debts and maybe sell some of its assets. To make this happen, Sunnova is asking the court to approve some routine requests. These include things like being able to pay employees, keep paying suppliers, and continue to meet their insurance and tax obligations. Basically, they're trying to keep things running smoothly for their workers and partners despite the bankruptcy. If you're really interested in all the details, there's a website listed in the report where you can find more information and court documents. Just remember, what's on that website isn't officially part of this report we're looking at today. Because Sunnova filed for Chapter 11, it triggered some problems with their existing debts. This part of the report talks about how the bankruptcy automatically made some of their debts due immediately. There are a few agreements listed. These agreements are basically contracts where Sunnova promised to pay back money it borrowed. Now that they've filed for bankruptcy, those agreements are in trouble. Here the report says Sunnova expects to get a warning from the New York Stock Exchange. The NYSE might say that Sunnova stock no longer meets the requirements to be listed on the exchange because of the bankruptcy. Sunnova doesn't plan to fight this delisting. That means their stock will likely be removed from the exchange. However, the report points out that this doesn't change Sunnova's responsibilities to report information to the government. You can find more details about the bankruptcy cases on that website we talked about earlier. Sunnova has been talking to some of its lenders and investors about potential financial deals. To do this, they shared confidential information with them. This section of the report is basically making that information public now, so everyone has the same information. That information is included as an exhibit or attachment to this report. Sunnova is warning people that trading its stock right now is very risky. The price of the stock might not have anything to do with what investors might actually get back in the bankruptcy case. The report suggests that people who own Sunnova's stock could lose most, if not all, of their investment. The report also includes a section that warns about potential risks. These are things that could make Sunnova's situation even worse. These risks include the bankruptcy itself, Sunnova's ability to pay its bills, and the possibility that they won't be able to keep relationships with customers and employees. There's also a risk that they won't be able to sell their assets in a way that helps them pay back their debts. For a more complete list of risks, you can check out Sunnova's annual report from the end of last year. So what does this all mean? Well, it's not great news for Sunnova. The company is in a tough spot and there's a lot of uncertainty about its future. On one hand, Sunnova has been a player in the solar energy market, which is a growing industry. They've helped people switch to renewable energy, which is a good thing for the environment. On the other hand, they're now facing bankruptcy, which means they haven't been able to manage their finances effectively. They took on a lot of debt and now they're struggling to pay it back. This suggests weaknesses in the leadership and decision-making within the company. One of the biggest risks is that Sunnova won't be able to successfully reorganize its finances. They might have to sell off assets at a loss, or they might not be able to reach an agreement with their lenders. If that happens, the company could be forced to shut down. But there's also an opportunity here. The bankruptcy process could allow Sunnova to shed its debt and emerge as a stronger, more sustainable company. If they can find a way to restructure their finances and focus on their core business, they could still have a future in the solar energy market. Ultimately, Sunnova's fate will depend on how well they navigate the bankruptcy process. They'll need to make some tough decisions and they'll need to convince their lenders and investors that they have a viable plan for the future. Alright, that's our breakdown of Sunnova's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.